extend time for public forum by up to 10 minutes, so to 40 minutes, to try to give us that chance to get through everything. We have quite a few statements and a lot of questions in. So for statements, I'm going to ask if people can limit themselves to 2 minutes, that would be appreciated. There's 1 or 2 members of the public who are subject of a report, and I've said they can have a little bit longer. But if you could limit yourself to 2 minutes, that would give us a chance then to move on to questions. For questions, if you have supplementary questions, or you don't need to re-ask your main question, you should have seen, hopefully, the written answers to your questions. What you can then do is ask a supplementary question, and if you can limit yourself up to a maximum of 2 supplementaries, you get technically 1 supplementary per question, but some people have more than 2 questions in. Again, that will just let us get through, hopefully, most of the questions that are here today. So first off, we'll move on to statements, and first off, I have Mr. S. Smith. Is he present? No. Okay, next, can I call Jen Smith to speak to her statement?
Hi, thank you, Chair. Just before I start, I'd just like to reiterate that I'm here as a parent. I'm not representing any organisation, and I'm also the subject of the spying report. I think I was Twitter user too. So the fact-finding report on this morning's agenda, looking into social media spying by Bristol City Council, is a whitewash. The unlawful covert spying is also a continually evolving situation with one thing clear. We are nowhere near understanding the full extent of the data the Council has amassed, profiled and shared. Council staff are using their own resources as well as staff's private social media accounts to collect this information. It's taken 3 months to get the results of an FOI regarding the situation. The result, a bizarre collection of documents showing extensive spying. I've submitted some of these in the public forum document. The FOI did not contain any requested communications, and I refuse to believe council staff communicate telepathically, so these are obviously being withheld. My own SAR is now well overdue, but the council will not respond to my emails asking where it is or how long it will take. I feel suspicious. From the lack of ownership of this mess, it's clear the rotten culture has been sanctioned at the very top of Bristol City Council, a politicised council with a mayoral administration that clearly hates SEND parents. Nothing negative must be uttered about Bristol, no matter how factual, including feedback which this report shows must not be negative at all. I believe this is bigger than the Parent Carer Forum. Twitter users are being unfairly targeted and profiled in their attempts to speak out against injustice and imbalances of power in this city. Everyone should be worried. I've experienced it because I had the temerity to talk online, in the media, and at the public forum of council meetings like this one about the shambolic experiences my children have had at the hands of Bristol's SEND system. They don't like it, but even now we're still waiting over 5 months for our EHCP social care provision, so it's not great, is it? Make no mistake, this monitoring was going on before I came and left as Vice Chair of BPC. Whilst part of the Parent Carer Forum, I did not engage in any campaign activity under its name, and no complaint was ever lodged by the Council regarding any meeting I attended in my capacity as forum representative. I didn't do anything wrong other than simply exist. I certainly did not leak confidential information from a co-production meeting that never existed, as claimed in paragraph 34 by both the Council and Sendias. Why have they made these defamatory statements in an official report? Despite the Dolores Umbridge management at the Council, I do not tell lies. I've been told to my face by top council managers that I am responsible for all the SEND caseworkers leaving, that my neurodivergent tweets on Twitter, ones not for the council, are aggressive, and that top managers have issues with me making statements in public forum like this one, and that is a direct attack on democracy. The council seems to think that information in the public domain is theirs to do with as they like, but it's not that simple. Not when it amounts to repeated covert surveillance, collating and sharing data, doxing accounts, profiling people, being against freedom of speech, being prejudiced against them due to their disability, which is a protected characteristic, as well as discriminating against them for taking protected acts. Why aren't council officers following the Nolan Principles, FOI, GDPR, RIPA, the Equality Act 2010 and the Human Rights Act, and what are they hiding? Bristol is spies, lies and no production. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Jen. And I should have told everybody as well, we are actually recording and live broadcasting this meeting. So just to warn everybody, that is the case. Sorry, I should have announced that at the beginning. Anyway, thank you very much, Jen. Next, I have Hayley Hemming. I believe you have 2 statements, Hayley. So perhaps if you want to speak to both at the same time. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Hayley Hemming, the Chair of the Bristol Parent Carer Forum. The Forum is a volunteer-led charity whose steering group and members are parent carers of children with SEND. All of our team have first-hand experience of navigating SEND services alongside caring for some of the most vulnerable children and young people in Bristol. I had intended to come here today to read the statement that we had already provided, but last week I experienced a distressing meeting in which a local councillor labelled me vexatious and implied that a certain level of hysteria has accompanied these monitoring allegations. This made us feel that some members of Bristol staff are oblivious to the harm and upset that they have caused to the SEND community, to the forum officer's reputation, and to the forum itself. The same local councillor told members of the meeting that she is on the side of the SEND team and that vital resources are being diverted from this team in dealing with meetings and investigations on this topic. I have not come here today to talk about the lawfulness of the behaviour of council staff or its consultants. I have come to make it clear that we agree with the councillor. As volunteers passionate about improving SEND systems, this is the very last thing that we want to spend our time doing. But 2 of the 5 areas of the weakness from the last Ofsted inspection highlighted concerns around accountability and the fractured relationship between parents and carers. Our concerns and that of the SEND community are closely related to these 2 issues which persist 3 years after the original inspection. To encourage a roomful of council staff to laugh at the notion that our social media has been surveilled when we have read a report that details it has been accessed at least 8 separate times is disrespectful. It speaks volumes about the way families, children and young people with SEND are treated in Bristol on a daily basis. When we look at the answers to some of the questions submitted to this scrutiny group, it appears that officers replying do not want to be held to account. It seems that they do not want to listen to or accept the questions that families have put to them. They do not want to reply with tangible answers to help citizens, parents and carers understand reasons for decisions that have been made. Instead, the answers provided by officers imply a new allegation that forum officers are openly criticising the strategy that we were seemingly involved in developing, which has eroded trust and confidence. In the statement that we did originally submit to scrutiny, we clearly detailed that forum officers have broken no rules. These rules are laid out by Bristol City Council's own funding terms, the DFE and Contact. We also have internal policies covering conflicts of interest which also have not been broken. SEND and you themselves have stated that the meeting our former Vice Chair attended was a public meeting. She attended in the capacity of a parent, not as a forum officer. No confidential information has been leaked via social media. Bristol would not agree to sign the agreement to enable the forum to access the DFE funding. In part, this was because they perceive that the forum is not inclusive enough. Yet, it also appears that the forum is on trial for being too inclusive in allowing families who have largely been critical in their personal lives about SEND services. As an organisation, we are not equipped to be continuously placed on trial in the public realm, whether this is by press releases, one-sided fact-finding reports, vexatious complaints about our volunteers, or verbal attacks on my professional reputation during council-led meetings. We need to put our differences aside and work together to accept that we have the same vision. We are committed to working with Bristol City Council as we do with our local health colleagues. Our statement submitted outlines several quick wins to some of the current challenges within the EHCP
Can you just summarise now, Handy?
It's nearly the end, sorry, Chair. The only way that we can move forward and improve the fractured relationship is with true co-production and in equal partnership. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Next on my list is Sally Kent.
Bear with me. So my statement outlines the support that the current Parent Carer Forum leadership have within the SEND community with over 90 supporting signatures, and it is available for people to read. However, what I'd like to talk about today, and in regard to our closed Facebook EHCP peer support group, is the RIP file of emails connected to our group and one of the people mentioned in the report of which the council holds. The existence of this file came to light through an FOI and is not mentioned within the official report. Just to clarify, for membership of our peer support group, 3 questions are asked. Are you a parent carer? Do you live in Bristol and surrounding local authorities? The answer to these questions must be yes. The third question is, lastly, do you work in health, education or social care? If they do, then they are not allowed membership of this closed private group. I'm concerned of what methods the council has used to collect the data contained within the zip file named EHCP Experiences Facebook group, and that the official report is not as thorough as it could and should have been. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next up, I have Hannah Summers and Amy Valencia. Oh, I think Councillor Edwards, you're doing that.
I am. Hello. I'm speaking on behalf of Hannah Summers today. So Hannah and Amy have been campaigning for the last year to highlight the problems faced in their specific part of our ward, looking for secondary places for their children, and they have submitted a petition with over 500 signatures, 561 signatures. So they say, having already submitted to both full council and people's scrutiny at past meetings, we wish to hear what progress is being made in regards to our cause. We ask that our portion of Horfield, which is in Bishopston and Ashley Down ward, is confidently served by at least one secondary school. We recently had our story and campaign covered by BBC Points West. It has come to our attention that after thorough research, investigation and inspired by local experiences that many families are facing huge issues with securing local provision. This seems mostly driven by the fact that the majority of Bristol secondaries are now academies and that their own authority on admissions and catchments. It appears that there are flaws within how Bristol City Council oversees how these academies serve the whole city in a realistic and fair way. We believe that Redland Green School, Fairfield High School have not reviewed their catchments since 2006, let alone since the new Trinity Academy opened. Trinity's catchment overlaps with both Orchard Academy and Fairfield, yet our portion of this area is not served by any of them. Redland Green's popularity realistically means our area is now not served by this school at all, and this needs recognition and reflection of how its catchments are reviewed. Ooh. Part of this response from the ex-Director of Education, Alison Hurley, in response to our last submission stated, the local authority's role is to coordinate the admission arrangements and ensure sufficiency. Our area has no sufficiency or certainty that any child would secure a local place. In response to our comments submitted to the 2023-24 school admissions consultations, we were informed by Fairfield Excalibur Trust Academies that whilst Excalibur do have the authority to change the catchment area, we would not do this without discussion with Bristol City Council. Many of the points you raise... Oh gosh, don't do that. Many of the points you raise require action and coordination at local authority level rather than admission authority level. We ask that discussions begin without hesitation, not after several years, as has been suggested. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next up, I have Sandra Thomas. Is Sandra present? No. Okay. I have Councillor Jeff Gollop, which I think Mark Weston you're going to speak to.
Thank you very much, Chair. Sorry, Jeff has another meeting with the moving around of diaries. He really just wanted me to stress his latter paragraphs. We have an example here when it comes to the report of what we regard as the council targeting some of the most vulnerable people in our community, in our society. And you are right, and the council's right, this is a distraction, but it's a self-inflicted distraction. And the reason it's so abhorrent to many of us is it shows a complete lack of moral compass. There should be no point where it's acceptable for the council to even be in the position where it is perceived to be spying on residents. And that's exactly where this falls. And the problem we've got on this is, if it's send now, well, what if it's a contentious transport issue? Are campaign groups going to get the same? What if it's a contentious parks issue? Will they get the same? Is it a community group where there's a bit of a fracas? This opens up a whole can of worms which is, its vulgarity itself is what's exercising us so much. This should never have been allowed to happen. And Councillor Gollett wanted me to stress that today.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Councillor Weston. And finally, I have Rowena Hayward and Jeff Sutton. I think Jeff's present.
Thank you, Chair. It's Jeff Sutton, Branch Secretary of the GMB. This is in relation to the Adult Social Care Transformation Update. The GMB welcomes comments made in the report regarding South Bristol Rehab Centre, where it states that important lessons were learnt in relation to working with health partners and the impact on staff during the process, and these will be applied in future work. However, to date, management have made no attempt to contact the GMB regarding our request for a lessons learnt opportunity. So the GMB have also requested the HR committee to set up an investigation into the way in which this process has been conducted and how the staff have been treated, and this was agreed at last week's Health and Safety, the HR committee. We wrote that in the scrutiny report, the council's decision to outsource the remaining intermediate rehab centre in East Bristol to Serona, and would ask if the staff were being informed of this. Also, GMB would request whether or not a decision has been already made by the council regarding the outsourcing of Redfield Lodge reablement intermediate care, as well as this is all under section on page 8. We would not support any decision to outsource an existing services, as transferring staff to another employee does not either improve or make the delivery of the service any more cost effective, possibly even more expensive. If there are issues, then surely the first focus should be upon management, how they can deliver the service rather than outsourcing it. We would hope that the council would have learnt the lessons over the years of outsourcing and then having to bring services back in. We'd just like to emphasise the fact that please look at how the previous staff were treated and don't apply that going forward, and look at savings in-house rather than outsourcing everything in one go. Thank you.
Thank you. I'd like to thank the public for all of their statements. If we can move on to questions now. We have about 22 minutes left for questions. So some people have several questions in. If you can limit yourself to just a maximum of 2 supplementaries, it'll give us more chance to go through. But if we get through them all and there's a little bit of spare time, I'm happy to return to the 1 or 2 members of the public who have multiple questions in, so they can perhaps ask another supplementary. So Jen Smith, you have 5 questions in over questions 1 and 2. Did you have a supplementary to any of your questions?
Thank you, Chair. Yes, I have a couple of supplementaries. So for my first question, should I just launch into my supplementary?
Yes, if you could just say which question it's a supplementary to, that helps us.
So this was question 1, I think. It was about the Sendias. My supplementary question was, the report states I was there as a Bristol Parent Carer Forum member, but this is not true. So to claim otherwise in an official report in this arena is defamation. Why has the council knowingly done this? Thank you.
Thank you. I think I'll ask Nancy to respond to that, because you're the solicitor in the room, if that's okay.
So the information that we were given was from officers. So if that's wrong, then we would need to go and look at that. So I'll have to look into that and verify it. And then if that's right, I will write back to you and correct the information.
Thank you very much. Do you have a second supplementary? And if so, can you say which question it's to?
Yes, I do have a second supplementary question. It's for question 3, which is about the council's own policy on social media surveillance in the Children's Services Procedures Manual. So my supplementary question is, does the council only use its own social media account to view and collate data from social media, or do individual staff members use their private accounts instead or as well? Thank you.
Thank you very much. Who would like to answer that? Nancy, I think because you're the author of the report, do you want to tackle that? I'm not too sure you would actually know the answer.
That's not something that would be within my knowledge, Chair. I think that's something that officers would have to talk to if they could indeed.
Richard or Vicky, do either of you want to come back on that?
Yeah, so information is regularly collated by the comms team as part of their, when we're hashtagged and things like that and things, so that would come up and that would be part of their day-to-day work. So that would be our usual council practice, to be looking to see where we're referenced in those sorts of things. In terms of individuals, we would never be asking individuals to collate that information on their own or through their private accounts.
Okay, so I think the official answer is that as far as officers are aware, they would have been using council accounts while logged into the social media. Anyway, next up, next set of questions. Is Lucy White here? No. Suzanne Audrey? Oh, Suzanne's not here. Adele Green? No. Charlotte Robertson? No. Ian Hemming? No. Kay Galpin? No. Lottie Lane? No. Hayley Hemming? Hayley, did you have any supplementary questions?
My question wasn't answered, Chair.
Would you like to repeat your question for an answer?
Sure. So on the 1st of September, Bristol City Council was informed that data subject 1, which was myself, had joined the forum pending checks and references so that the public may understand any rules that I was bound to regarding the forum rules and any DFE rules. Please can Bristol City Council clarify on which date that I signed my contract, joined the steering group and became an officer of the forum?
I'll go to Nancy, but I suspect the answer is that you do not know that.
Is this a question that was put after the first? So is this the second lot of questions that were put? So we haven't had a chance to actually look into that. That's the ones that we're going to answer subsequently, Chair.
So I'm afraid I believe the answer is still that you will have to wait for an answer following this meeting.
I think I already know the answer, Chair. The council don't hold the information, so they don't know when I was bound by what terms.
I would imagine what you've just said is correct. I'd be surprised if they did have that information. Did you have any other supplementaries, Hayley?
No, thanks.
Thank you. Councillor Kerry Bales, I know she's not here. Julie Wilson? No. Hannah Summers and Amy Valencia?
Thank you, Chair. Yeah, I've got their question. Will Bristol City Council's Education Department be reviewing the catchments and admissions of Bristol secondary schools as a matter of urgency, taking more ownership of administration and ensuring all academies are working together to ensure all postcodes and areas of the city are served by at least one school?
Richard, did you want to answer that?
I was actually going to cover that later on in the agenda anyway, but I can confirm that is what we are planning to do from October. So there will be, obviously the two new secondary schools is slightly different, but there will be discussions starting with schools around their catchment areas. And obviously the information that we've received from the two parents will form part of that discussion with us.
Thanks. So to pin that down, that would be a review for the 2024 intake then?
Yeah, it obviously takes quite a lead-in time for things to be changed, but the conversation is starting now. So it would be the following year, yeah.
Thank you very much. Did you have another supplementary,
No,
Councillor?
but would I be able to get that answer in writing for the residents, please?
Yeah, that will be put in writing, obviously, when we respond to these questions.
Thank you.
Right, so going down through Bristol Parent Carer Forum.
It's the second set of questions that weren't answered, Chair.
Did you wish to repeat the question?
If I can find it quickly. Which question
okay.
is it? Is it 13? 15.
15.
It's a very long question. It concerns the HCPs pretty much. We're just really concerned that there's no strategic involvement. The community groups are not quite the same thing as co-production, and we just wondered how it would work going forward. There doesn't seem to be any clarity.
Thanks. It is actually quite a long and in-depth question, which I think involves several pages of information. So I think rather than try to hammer out an answer here, we'll look for a more in-depth answer to be sent to you. And obviously, any of these answers will be copied to all members of the Commission as well, so they will get to see it. I think what we can do is we will also add those answers into the minutes of the meeting, so they will also be published publicly. It may just take a week or two to do that. So I think if that... Oh, yes?
If we have a follow-up, could we bring it to the next scrutiny meeting?
Of course, you can. The only warning I give is we can only hold 3 scrutiny meetings a year, so it will be in a few months' time, probably December, actually.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thanks. Finally, Laura Drake. No. Jen Smith, I know I reduced you down to 2 supplementaries. Did you have any other supplementaries you wish to ask?
Yes, Chair, thank you. I've got 2 more supplementary questions, if that's okay. So my next supplementary question is regarding, I think it's question 2, about the reasonable adjustments. So the response to the question says that tweet surveillance did not involve any specific interaction with any of the individuals concerned, but that's not true. Tweet surveillance continued all year as is shown in the bundle. Why was the Equality Act adjustments not used in a meeting where top council managers called my social media presence and council statements derogatory and aggressive? Thank you.
Thanks. I may have missed it. Was there a question in there?
Why was the Equality Act adjustments not used in a meeting where top council managers called my social media presence and council statements like these here today derogatory and aggressive? They said that to my face with no reasonable adjustments. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Again, Nancy, I think I'll turn to you as the... Oh, Hugh?
Yeah, I mean, as we've noted in the response, reasonable adjustments tend to apply primarily to ensuring our activity and the places that we operate within are accessible, and states that we should make reasonable adjustments to enable access. And that includes how we communicate, and I think that's very important. I think what I'd like to say is that I don't think that reasonable adjustments as defined in the Equality Act 2010 do apply in this context, but I do think that we should still consider very seriously whether you or the group and members of the group do have additional needs that we should perhaps take into consideration. And I'm perfectly happy to discuss this subsequently, as it says in the last paragraph. We do want to communicate effectively with people. We are very keen to co-produce, and in order to do that, however we can arrange our communications, it would be a positive thing for us to do.
Thank you. And Jed, I think you have one final supplementary.
Thank you, Chair. Yes, my final supplementary question is, thank you to the Executive Director for confirming that reasonable adjustments don't apply to council meetings. That's everything. Thank you.
Okay, I think that was a statement, not a question, but that's fine. The good news is we've actually finished public forum within the 30 minutes, so we're slightly less tight on time. So before we go into the report, just to explain to councillors, to try to save time in this meeting, because we've had to add in a whole additional report, we've asked officers not to do a presentation. So this is working on the presumption that you yourselves have actually read the report. What I will do is I will turn to the officers just to see if there's anything they want to say sort of for 30, 40 seconds before we go into questions. So my plan at this point is that we've got about 40 minutes, and we will really have to curtail it to around 40 minutes, or we will lose quite a few items off the agenda to discuss this. What I was going to look to do is to take questions up to the first 20 minutes and then open up to a debate or any motions for the last 20 minutes. So if people